The elements of vehicular manslaughter are the unlawful killing of a human without malice, in which operation of a motor vehicle is a significant cause, as charged in the second amended criminal complaint. In this particular matter, the state must show for probable cause purposes that the defendant was either under the influence of alcohol, drugs, or other intoxicants, or operated his motor vehicle with gross negligence. Idaho case law defines gross negligence as negligence that amounts to a wanton, flagrant, or reckless disregard of consequences or willful indifference of the safety or rights of others. In this particular matter, the evidence at the preliminary hearing shows that Ms. Redford was killed as the result of the operation of a motor vehicle. Essentially, the testimony is that the defendant's reckless operation of his motor vehicle by twice crossing the center line drove Ms. Redford off the road into oncoming traffic, ultimately where she was struck by one vehicle and then was T-boned by a second vehicle, thereby causing her death. The question then becomes whether or not there's probable cause to believe the defendant was under the influence or was grossly negligent. Ms. Nelson has outlined for the court the evidence that tends to show evidence of being under the influence, the defendant's driving pattern from 7 o'clock in the morning till sometime afternoon, the evidence of his inability to stay awake from the time of the accident south of Shoshone all the way through to the last interview with Lieutenant England, the failure on the HGN and walk and turn tests, the admissions of drug use, though the time frame for that is not exactly clear, the prescription bottle that was recovered at the jail, the defendant's dry heaves, urinating on himself, and ultimately the opinion of the police officer on his condition. Again, the state's burden here today is only to show probable cause. If the burden was beyond a reasonable doubt, the absence of results from the lab might be significant. Likewise, if the burden was beyond a reasonable doubt, the possibility of other explanations for his condition, if proven, may be significant. Other explanations for his condition have not been shown at this particular hearing. Again, the state's burden here is probable cause. Under the circumstances I've described, the state has shown it more likely than not that drugs or other intoxicating substances were a significant cause of the accident resulting in the death of Ms. Redford. In the alternative, the defendant seeks to strike references in the complaint to accidents prior to the accident that caused the death. As applied to this particular case, gross negligence is essentially a course of conduct. In this case, that conduct begins with the action south of Shoshone and ends at Carey's Hair Care. The references in the complaint to that course of events is appropriate under those circumstances. That course of events, along with the other testimony, likewise supports the conclusion for probable cause purposes that the defendant was grossly negligent. As a result, the court does find that the offense outlined in the second amended criminal complaint under both theories has been shown, and that there is probable cause to believe that the defendant committed that offense. He will be bound over to the district court, required to enter a plea of guilty or not guilty.